I see a black man and one man, I think of strength, black empowerment we have within, building community development. Let's continue to build our own. Let's continue to stay strong. Motivation, no matter the hate, no stopping. You just go. Listen up to Quan, John, and Queen P for giving us a voice. Speak up for what's yours and yell and make that noise. We are kings and we are queens. Melanated royalty, just getting started. Loving self and knowledge. Stack that wealth. Motivational motives, y'all.
Booyah! Back at you, Motivational Motives. We always have interesting discussions with Black people who've overcome adversity en route to prosperity. What's going on, Portia Mistake? What up?
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time. You got your boy Quan John. Now I'm in my humble abode in the lovely state of Virginia. I'm just happy to be here. You know, I do feel a little butt naked because I don't have my trade hack bucket hat on, but it's in the disarray of the home. You know what I'm saying? But we here now. Yeah, understand? Yo, interesting. Always thought-provoking guests. We got my man, Brother Rashidi. He's an entrepreneur. He's a Black scholar. He's also a lyricist and the host of Hoodies, the podcast. Say what's up, bro. What up, baby?
What's going on, y'all? Peace. What's going on? Thanks for having me here, man.
Lord. Yes, Lord. I mean, like I said, you know, my man put me on to you know, what you doing over there, you know, so he let me know that. He was like, yo, got this dude that he teaches our Black kids how to play chess. And I'm like, yo, you know how innovating that is? Because me, myself, I don't know how to play chess. When I was a young guy, an older man tried to teach me, but I guess my mind was so scattered. So the fact that you have the patience to really sit down and teach our youngsters how to play this game that's really not a game. This game of chess, I would say, is about life and how you have to be strategic in every move you make in life to be successful. Am I right?
Oh, super facts, man. Super facts.
For real.
It's life. Yeah.
It's life. But before we even get into that, let's get into your background. You know what I'm saying? You know, where, you know, because I think you're a very interesting guy, because I would say that you're kind of like a chameleon, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? For real. So get us the rundown of who Brother Rashidi is. For real.
Brother Rashidi is from the South Side of Chicago. You know what I mean? South Side of Chicago. You know, humble beginnings, still humble. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a lot coming up. Right. You know, come from an environment where there's, you know, gang culture has always been heavy in Chicago.
Right. You know I've heard, man.
It's always been pretty heavy. But, you know, when you're young and you live there, you learn how to kind of navigate, right. You know, where to go, where not to go, and, you know, which way to turn your hat, which way to not turn it, you know, color, things like that. So, you know, South Side of Chicago, man. Yeah.
So did you ever get involved in that gang culture, or you kind of stayed clear of it, so to speak?
I was probably in like what I consider like the first phase. I think every young kid goes through like the wannabe phase. You know, you watch the older dudes, you know, so everybody's kind of like a wannabe until, you know, you kind of, you know, if you will, get the balls to take it a step further. So I think in the wannabe phase, I was fortunate enough to, like, if I'm on a corner with, you know, some other brothers, I was fortunate enough to have like a guy who's like, man, I know your moms. Go home, man. Go home. You know what I mean?
God bless.
So and then of course this would be guys who, you know, not the baddest dudes in the world, but enough to where you respect what they said, and I would get off the corner. In some instances, that same corner would get, you know, people would be, you know, shooting on that corner. Nobody would get killed, but you know, so
some activity. Yeah.
Right, some activity. Where I like that. But so I've been fortunate enough to have people who looked out. You know, looking back on it, it's like, man, like, you never know that something could happen to me and my friends, because they were there too. So yeah. So no, I never joined. I never got in it. But you know, when you're young and impressionable, you know, you think that's what tough is. You think that's what a man is. You think that this is, if I want respect, this is the way it is.
Right.
Yeah, whoops. Well, I think it's best that we go back to that, to the fisticuffs.
I feel what you're saying. You're saying. Right. As opposed to using that toolery. Right. You know what I'm saying? I dig it. And you know what? I definitely agree. And I think that comes from self-discipline. You understand? Not even self-discipline, you know, I think I'm writing a book right now about it's called The Presence of Patriarchy right now. I'm also an author, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of delve into, you know, how, you know, some fathers, like, you know, let's say you become a father at 19, you had just threw yourself into fatherhood, man. You understand? Right. So one, if you didn't have a father or a role model of some sort, you know what I'm saying, you're probably going to have some difficulties in trying to rear yourself as a father. When, you know, let's say, I've used this analogy before, you know, let's say a father, his child comes home, he got beat up in school and he's 10, 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know, you have some options here. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got some fathers that, you know, tell the kid, just tough it out and just go back to school. You got other fathers that probably say, oh, well, now, you know, you're quote unquote punk because you got beat up. Or then you got another father that said, you know what, we're going to discipline you and put you in some formal karate classes, and this is never going to happen again. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so you got three options of how, and it kind of coincides with your, you know, with the chess playing. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of options in this lifetime. It's just not one way. But some of us as Black men, like you alluded to, we get accustomed to what the status quo is doing and we just follow it.
Right.
And a lot of us end up either dead, in jail, or paupers. Yeah. You understand?
But I do feel like it's like a mix between your circumstances and who you are, right? Because
absolutely,
it can't just be who you are. Okay, that's why you didn't end up in the gang, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. But it's really your circumstances. Like Rashidi, you're saying that, you know, it was that dude on the corner that sent you back home. If he hadn't done that, where would you be? What would you be doing?
Welcome to the magical melanated mountains of Black beauty. This is the Emancipation Movement. And we're just 2 months away from our holiday. Yes, our holiday. I'm talking about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is derived from the Swahili phrase matunda ya kwanza, which means first fruits. Swahili is a Bantu language spoken in Eastern and Southern African countries. Kwanzaa is a Pan-African holiday created in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karenga, a professor of African Studies at CSU Long Beach. Kwanzaa is a 7-day holiday that takes place from December 26th to January 1st. It was created out of the desire to create a holiday for us, both Black Americans and those from the African diaspora. But most importantly, it was created to instill pride in ourselves during a time when we were told being Black was wrong. But we all know Black is beautiful. During the 7 days of Kwanzaa, we dance, we sing, we tell stories, we eat, and we discuss one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Each day is dedicated to one of those principles. Day 1 is umoja, which means unity. Day 2, Kujichagulia, which means self-determination. Day 3 is Ujamaa, which is collective work and responsibility. Day 4, Ujamaa, which means cooperative economics. Day 5, Nia, which is purpose. Day 6, Kuumba, which is creativity. And the last day of Kwanzaa, day 7, is Imani, which means faith. Whether you celebrate Kwanzaa with your family or you've never celebrated Kwanzaa before, join us this year in the celebration of our holiday. Every night of Kwanzaa at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, melanated royalty from both the US and Africa will come together via Zoom to keep the tradition alive. If you're new to this and don't know exactly what to do, don't worry. Over the course of the next few days, we'll be releasing more videos that'll give you a little bit more history and more information on how to properly prepare for this year's Kwanzaa celebration. If you haven't done it yet, join the Emancipation Movement on Facebook, like this video, share, and subscribe. We hope to see you soon. Bye.
Very
right.
Right.
That's a very, very yeah, you're right. Who would have known what would have happened? Who knows what level I would have taken it to?
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
So my question though is, what led you, now that we kind of get the idea of, you know, you veered down the right path, so to speak. How did that lead to who you are now? Because if you watch the Hoodies, the podcast, and you listen to the conversations that you have and the discussions that you spark, it's like, where did that guy come from? Because your perspective is so different, and a lot of people would actually call it controversial. Though I feel like these conversations are happening in many different Black communities, but they just don't get out. But you're there and you're recording it. How did you get there? How did you become that guy?
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't just, none of us, we don't just arrive, boom, as guys. So,
I agree. Evolution.
Right. It was a series of events that led me here, if you will, right? Some of the seeds was kind of planted when I was a youngster. Because I mean, so with the guy who tells me, I know your mom's get off the corner, like, my uncle was around, my grandfather, he was a huge influence in my life. My grandfather he's from a place called, slips my mind, but it's someplace in the South. Man, it's slipping my mind. But so then he hears about, and this is of course back in the day, but he hears about Marcus Garvey's movement, the UNIA, right? He had different branches, of course, in Harlem, Michigan, where like Lansing, Michigan, where Malcolm, his mother and father, because that's, you probably already know, but Malcolm, his pop, Earl and Louise Little, they was a part of, the Pan-Africanist movement, in America. So my granddaddy went to Chicago, right? He went there in search of joining the movement.
Wow.
Right? But by this time, I believe the late Marcus Garvey, I believe at this time he was incarcerated. So when he got there, now you know that the Nation of Islam, the headquarters is in Chicago. It's there in Chicago, right? So he heard about the Nation of Islam and about its teachings and so on and so forth, and he was interested. He joined that.
Right.
When I was a kid, man, he used to show us slides and everything. Like, I don't know if you know it, and I'm showing my age too, to be like these little projectors, right? He got these little,
right. I remember the projectors. Hell yeah.
Right. So he would put it on the wall and show us slides of this pilgrimage he went to Saudi Arabia, right?
Interesting.
I mean, being young, we didn't fully appreciate it for what it was when he was young, and he would show it every chance he got. So it was like, it was commonplace to be like, oh, we want to go outside, go do this, go do that, because we just seen it, on a regular basis. So I'm saying all that to say that my grandfather, he passed away in '86, and to this day, he's still the most intelligent. Think 86, back in 1986, and he's still
35
the
years
most
ago.
intelligent man that I've ever met. So that was the seed, that was planted, and just reading and things of that nature, and then life experiences. So that played a huge part.
It's very clear that you read. How you could just talk to somebody and know that they must spend a lot of time with their nose in the books.
Right.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
No, I'm saying? Is there something you want to say? Go ahead.
No, do your thing, baby.
There's this question that's been getting at me. Okay, so for those who are watching, if you go to the YouTube channel and you watch the videos, you'll see that there's a series, like for real series. You've been doing this, 3 years?
About 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, about 3 years. So if you just kind of skip through those, you kind of start to notice a pattern. Now, of course, a lot of what you discuss follows what we're dealing with in that time. But there's this one episode, and I don't know which episode it is. I don't know what it's called. But you talk about FBA versus ADOS versus the diaspora.
Yeah.
There's a woman who left a comment on that video.
Wow, yeah.
What did the comment say?
So, okay, before we get to the comment, Rashidi, just kind of recap that episode for us and what you talk about.
It's funny that because right now I'm in Tampa, because when I came out here to see my granddaughter, and my sister lives out here too. That's who left the comment, my sister, right?
Okay.
That was my sister, which is why in the pod, I didn't really, I think the following one, when I addressed it, I didn't really go too hard because, it's my sister.
That's fair.
She's still growing. She's still growing. Right. But for the most part, that podcast is that's one of my favorites, right? I noticed that it mainly exists on Twitter, keeping it funky. It's mainly on Twitter. That's where you see a whole lot of this FBA and ADOS rhetoric, right? My issue, my thing, okay, any type of organization that Black folk decide to get in, cool, that's what's up. But my issue is like, I don't like when Black folks start bickering amongst each other. Right. You know, like one, I don't care what you are, if you're a Pan-Africanist, if you're FBA, ADOS, Black nationalist, whatever. If that's what you are, if you think that who and what you represent is better than the rest of the collective, I got an issue with that. That's not only that, but okay, so picture we got a whole enemy, right? If you can picture over in the corner, we got a whole enemy. Right. The European, if you will. In all its many forms, the Irish, the Italians, the Spaniards, whatever. You got a whole enemy right there. And instead of like facing toward the enemy and fighting against that, we're like fighting amongst each other. And I just think that's, I'm not going to use the word, certain words, but I just think it's pretty weak. I think it's extremely weak, you know, and it shows that it's obvious. It shows that we scared.